me see what kind of just sort of happened. Let me see. iRobot after an hour. iRobot after hour and 8 minutes. Okay. Like I'm trying to remember exactly what's going on because it's a little and it's not too much. I just got to the hour mark, so the next 8 minutes, I'm trying to figure out what the heck just happened. Okay, it went from he had the whole lose his badge on, and then um, the lady. I'm trying to do anything really, if they show him doing anything else, but the lady, Dr. Calvin, she's looking at I think that's what the next way part. She's looking at Sonny, and she says a couple things. One, that his program. So one thing about that they've said a couple times is that, with the new NS5s, that they would have a constant uplink to the USR. So like they'll be able to get constant upgrades and programs and data and information. Like they should always be linked up to the USR, the robotics company, and like to get daily upgrades, like always getting better and performing better, anything like that, right? So first of all, she says that his uplink is not attached to the USR. That's one. And she said something about his alloys is denser than normal, than other NS5s. And so she was like, that's unique. And he was like, I'm unique. So then, again, like there was a whole little tape and they kept talking about secrets and dreams, secrets and dreams. The robots were gonna have secrets and dreams. And then, it was just a little part where the NS5 didn't respond to her, Sonny, but Sonny didn't respond to her because she was like, why didn't you respond? She said NS5 and he didn't respond. And she said, Sonny. And then he opened his eyes and she was like, well, why didn't you respond? He was like, I was dreaming. So then she goes to do something. Like she lays the head back, and then as she's laying the head back, something happens. And then like when she looks at the chest of the NS5, it like becomes like translucent, like she can see through it all of a sudden. And then something like pushes up, moves up. So what it reminds me of, which I'm not sure about, but in the beginning when Dr. Lanning had the whole hologram pop-up thing, it seemed as if that little device was inside of Sonny. I'm not sure. But then, but whatever it is, something like it becomes translucent, and then whatever that little part is, that pushes up. So that happens. And now after that happens, I'm trying to make sure. It's only been 8 minutes, but still, I'm trying to make sure like what's the next little part. I'm not sure. Again, with Dale Spooner, well, it might just go to him next. Remember, we just found out low key that he is part robot, and so he's like, but he has some type of spray. He's like spraying his arm, and like the skin is just coming back over his arm or whatever. And then I'm not sure if anything else is like happening. I'm not sure if I'm really missing. I don't think it's only been 8 minutes. I'm just trying to make sure I capture just this little part. But Dr. Calvin, which is the psychiatry, robot lady, she knocks on. He gets a knock at the door, and then it's her. And then he was like, I might not be in here by myself. She's like, yeah, and she walks on in. So she tells him that Sonny, basically, when she was looking at Sonny, one, she said his uplink isn't attached to the USR, the robotics company. His alloys are more denser than normal, and darn, what was I about to say? It was one more John, cause she gets in, and so basically she tells him that he has another. When she was looking for something, when she said those things, right, that his uplink isn't attached to the USR, that his alloys are more denser. It does show like there's another little clip, and it says that it shows another clip, and his operating system. It was a. I'm trying to remember. It was three. It was three words. Operating system something, but basically she got the. I'm not sure. It was denied. She tried to like get access to his operating system or something like that, and it was like denied. So when she gets to Dale Spooner's house, which is Will Smith, and she's talking to him, she was like, "Yeah, um, Sonny has an operating system. He has a separate operating system. So like he has one, but then he has another one. He has another operating system, which basically means he doesn't have to abide. He doesn't have to obey and abide by the um, the three laws. Because that's supposed to be one thing. Like if you abide by the three laws, then you should never be hurting a human or anything like that. So she was like, he has an operating system. Remember, one of the operating systems, she couldn't. He has an uplink that doesn't go to the USR. His alloys are way different, and he has another operating system that she can't get to. She can't access. So when she walks in, she tells him like, yeah, he has an operating system that is separate, that is not connected to whatever, and it's just his own thing. And so he can go against the three laws. Like he doesn't have to obey the three laws. So she's saying that, and she was like, a robot that's like can just do something of his own thing. It might do. He was like, anything, yeah. And so something about so she was like, all right, this. So that's one thing, and then I forget what happens. But then he was like, okay, well, I think Dr. Lanning was trying to send me like some type of messages in this and third. I got to go back to that. I got to go back and I got to be able to talk to Sonny. I got to be able to talk to the robot. And he was like, you got to get me in there to talk to the robot. She was like, okay. And then he's like, all right, I know it don't look like much, but this is my bedroom, so because so he can change. She's like, all right. Now another little part is there is a cassette, like DVD, like or whatever, like a music player, whatever. It's not like a radio, but I think you just kind of need to play like CD. It's like a CD player or something. But whatever, it's like a stereo CD player, whatever. Radio, I don't know. It's one of those type of things, right? And so she looks at it, and she was like, play, on, run. So she just in here talking to it, and it's not doing anything. So, of the whole, like now you can potentially say, hey Siri, play this song or play this music or whatever. Open up this app. Like you can just talk to it and it's just gonna run or whatever. So she's like, play, run, on. And it's not doing anything. Then she accidentally like pushes something and then like it starts to play. She presses like a button or something. Or like she does whatever and it starts to play and the music playing. So she's like, oh, in program, this and third, cancel. And so he comes back and he cuts it off with a remote. And so he cuts it off with a remote, and then he was like, it's not good, is it? It's not fun, is it? Something. He said something along those lines, and it was a fact. But basically, he comes in steps, and then, but he doesn't have a shirt on, so then he wants to go back around the corner, but she's like, oh, I didn't know. So she comes up close to him, and then, she's like feeling and touching all over him. She was like, oh, I didn't know. But basically she was like, oh, humerus, shoulder, rib. He's like, hey, that's me. So, basically they had a program or whatever where it was like, so basically she knows that he's part robot, but she didn't know that like they had already operated on certain people or that somebody needed this type of extensive work done. And so she was like, oh, I didn't know that they actually like use the technology extensively on somebody. It's just, oh, she said subject. And like with him being a person, she called him a subject. And so she's like, oh, I mean, then so he said something about reading the fine print and what they can take out versus what they can put in. And I'm not sure. There was something about that. He says that and then what else? So she asked what happened. So now he explains the dream only happened once. It happened in the beginning, and it happened just not too long ago. the recurring dream that he has. And so he has a simple, it's not like, I don't, it's one of those, whatever. But this is why he's so like pressed about it with the whole robots or whatever. So um, he's trying to tell the story of like there's some guy, Harold Lloyd, but no relation to the actual actor or something like that. He has a daughter. I don't know how he knows that the daughter wanted to be a dentist. This 12-year-old girl wants to be a dentist. I don't know how he knows that part or whatever, but basically he was like, it was a truck accident. The truck uh, wife, he's like, the truck driver has a wife and kids, so he's just doing a double. He's not the devil, but he's just pulling a double. He's a truck driver, and but these are also things like you see, a human gets tired. A robot doesn't have to get tired. And so, with the self-driving cars and delivery trucks and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, like they're practicing a lot of cars driving themselves, and then it moves to like I think delivery trucks driving themselves, and self-driving delivery trucks. So now you don't have to worry about a person getting tired, and drifting, getting sleepy, drifting off at the road. But hey, these are just little conversational pieces. So he talks about how the person was pulling the double, and he's not like, it wasn't like the person's a bad guy or anything, but it's life, it happens, wife, kids, just normal person. And so he does that, but his truck basically pushes both of those cars into like the water. And so he was like, they're pinned. And so he was like, yeah, it's only a matter of time before this and third. Like, they're probably not going to get out of this. But it was an NS4, and the NS4 comes in and saves him. And he was like, save her, save her. He was like, it didn't. And so the lady, Dr. Calvin, is about to try to say, well, maybe the NS4 made a logical decision in this. And he was like, yeah. He was like, the NS4 did some calculations, and it said he had a 45% chance of surviving, whereas the little girl, so the little girl was in the car with her dad or whatever. Her dad died instantly. So she, she, and so her name was Sarah. Again, I don't know how he knows that she wanted to be a dentist or whatever, but he ends up having he wears her necklace around he wears her necklace. It's one of them, I don't know, they call it anagram, where it spells your name, but it's almost like it's the blocks with the letters. It's the little blocks with the letters. It spells her name, Sarah. So he was like, he still wears that. Anyway, he was like, the NS4 did calculations and was like, he had a 45% chance of surviving. She had 11% chance of surviving. So that's why it saved him. And so he gets this whole little emotional thing. Like, he was like, but that's a human being and that's a life. And a human would have understood or still tried to, whatever. It wouldn't be so cold and heartless about calculations and all this other stuff. So he makes that little inference, and then he walks off, and then I think that's what you call it. So I think that's the next little 8 minutes or so. I think I captured that part. I think I stopped it right there because it got to a little part. I don't know. It's some like, floating city type of vibes scene. So I'm like, all right, ain't nothing happening right now. Let me just, just recap that part. So officially learned how he, well, he says Dr. Lanning did the whole operation or whatever. So I'm assuming that when the robot pulled him out, he lost an arm. Yeah, that's what I'm assuming.